Hey everybody, Manga Chris here, and it is time for a new video. And this time it is a list video. I'm gonna do a couple of these, just because they're fun to do. And for today, we are going to be doing my favorite in my collection, my top 5 favorite Cyberpunk series. So for those of you who do not know, Cyberpunk is a sort of subgenre of science fiction, and the best way I can describe it is like, well, if anyone's seen like Blade Runner or The Matrix or another one, Johnny Mnemonic, those are cyberpunk movies. So that's the sort of genre that cyberpunk is. It's sort of the way it's often described as high-tech, low-life. So like, there's a bunch of awesome technology, but there's also a lot of like crime, and it's all like dystopian and all, yeah. But that's sort of what cyberpunk is in a sense. And Cyberpunk manga, there's not a lot, but the lot that there is pretty good. So I'm going to go over what my favorites are that I have. So let's get into that. So starting off, we've got Battle Angel Alita. This is volume 1 here of the hardcover deluxe editions. And right at the top, you can see it says the original Cyberpunk classic. So this, I read this first volume at least, and this is fantastic. It's got action, it's got robots, it's got action robots, and some intrigue and with how the world works and all that stuff. This is just a very fun read. It's a classic manga for a reason, so that is why it's on my list for Cyberpunk manga. So let's go into the next one. So second on our list, we've got Blame here. So I read this first volume. It's fantastic. This one is much more on the science fiction side of cyberpunk, and a lot more on the dystopian side. But this is, in my opinion, this fits right into cyberpunk as a genre, and it's mysterious and it's intentionally vague, and you know, nothing is really described, is sort of thrown in. So that's why I think it's such an interesting read to get into. So for number 4, but again, these aren't really in any order, but still, this is on the list for my favorite cyberpunk manga. And next up, we've got a one-shot that is called All You Need Is Kill. And for those of you who've seen the Tom Cruise movie Edge of Tomorrow, I think it's called, this is basically what that movie is based on, although this is an adaptation of a light novel, so it's an adaptation of a light novel. Yeah, but this is also a lot more on the science fiction side. This is a nice 2-cover sort of deal. This one deals with time loops. So a lot more on the science fiction side, but the action and the robots and the aliens and all that is super fantastic to read through. And a little fun fact, the manga adaptation is from the same creator as Death Note. So the artwork, those of you who have read Death Note, the artwork will look very similar, because it's the same guy basically. So All You Need Is Kill, it's on the list. And our second to last, we've got No Guns Life. This is a series, I started out watching the anime first. I really like the anime, and I looked at the manga. Manga looked fantastic, so I decided to switch to collecting the manga. I am not fully caught up. The series is completed. It's 13 volumes. I'm about halfway through collecting it, although I've only read the first 3 volumes. But No Guns Life is a lot more of the cyberpunk, stereotypical cyberpunk, where it's, you know, big corporations and it's dystopian, and a lot of mechanization and cyberization, augmentation, all those fun many-syllabled words. But as you can see, our main character here has a gun for a head, and it is very important to the plot. He's also got guns in his hands and stuff. But this is just a very fun action, it's a darker series, it is seinen, so, but No Guns Life is on this list for a reason. It is very good. And the last thing on our list, which is technically first, but I'm a little biased for putting this first, but that is going to be Ghost in the Shell. I mean, you can't go wrong with Ghost in the Shell. Whether it's the original manga, which I have read, and it is fantastic. It is very cyberpunky. I watched the anime first, and then I read the manga. Love both. But what I really love about Ghost in the Shell is none of the adaptations are set in the same universe. So the animes are all separate. The mangas are their own little thing. what's interesting about this part of Ghost in the Shell Human Algorithm, this is actually a follow-up to Ghost in the Shell Volume 1.5, which is sort of a smaller volume that basically tells sort of a few years after the end of the original Ghost in the Shell manga. Basically where the movie leaves off, if you've read the movie. Basically tells what happens after that. But this series ties in as a prequel to the Netflix anime Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex 2045, which in and of itself is a sequel to Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, the anime from 2005, I believe that's the year. But that aside, Ghost in the Shell is peak cyberpunk in my opinion. It might be a little hard to get through the original manga. It is very verbose, word dense, and goes into excruciating detail on all the important technical jargon. Shiro really went into detail. I am a very detail-oriented person, so I was like lapping it up. I loved it all. And I really love the old art style. I love Shiro's older art style. His newer stuff, I'm not that much of a fan of, but his older stuff, I am very much a fan of. But yes, Ghost in the Shell and its follow-ups and the anime are just all fantastic cyberpunk in the medium of manga and anime, so that's why they are number one technically on this list. So yes, definitely go check these out. So yeah, that is it, guys. That is all of my favorite cyberpunk manga in my collection. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.